Blood for the blood gods, skulls for the throne of corn. Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Once again, it's time for chaos mode training, and today was shoulder day. This is a very straightforward workout. And again, I'm just working with progressive overload on a few basic movements here. But here's the idea. Like most of the other muscles, particularly with the shoulders are the biggest muscle in the upper body. They're the most complex muscle in the upper body. And a lot of people are not aware of that on the sides, but this has been found looking at human bodies. And it's just because the muscle itself is really deep and it wraps all the way around. So delts are the biggest muscle. So really this is mostly just a delt and trap day. So what do I do to start? I do an upright row. I've learned to get really strict on these, and I take them as high as my range of motion allows. So I've been working with, since I started doing these really strict, I started with 65 pounds and I've been building up. So today I went up to 95. Obviously I lost reps while doing them really strict like this. I managed to get 8 and then 8, and then I really dug in on the last set and got 9, which is interesting because a couple of these I felt like I couldn't get another rep from the bottom after 8. But on the last set, I'm like, let me just dig in and force myself to, and then I couldn't get a 10th rep. So really the first 2 sets were a rep in reserve. Last set, we pretty much reached 0 reps in reserve. Again, pretty straightforward. So why the upright row? It works the entire shoulder girdle. Plus it works a little bicep, a little forearm, a little grip training. So again, it carries over to these other things. Keeping in mind, grip and forearms get worked every single workout for me. Because obviously I do no straps on anything, but then I do the hanging leg raises at the end. Of course, as I look at this, as I'm slowly continuing to get leaner, I almost feel like, man, did my triceps, my smallest muscle, I almost feel like they are, right? Which is ironic because I did all those years of closed grip benching and did a lot of tricep movements, but I still feel like my triceps really have to come up a lot more when I look at these angles. And I know I always say biceps, but so, you know, I'm glad that we're pushing all this stretch position stuff on triceps, which is something I always avoided. And I think that was, you know, a big factor for me, right? It's a big factor. So keep pushing the triceps hard on my chest and tricep day. Second exercise. What do we do here? Laterals, dumbbell laterals. And I do these pretty strict, stricter than I have at times. So I'm just focusing on doing these fairly strict, just trying to make sure that my elbows reach the shoulders. Again, anything above that makes it very front delt dominant, and I'm doing front delt work. So really this form I'm trying to work the side head, the lateral head of the delt as much as possible. I really want to fatigue it. Now, we need to be clear, all 12 of my shoulder work sets do work the side delts, but the upright rows hit them quite hard, even though it hits everything evenly. This really focuses on them more. And again, by bending over just slightly and not trying to take them way up high in the air, of course, my shoulder range of motion probably wouldn't let me. Which again, another reason I'm doing pullovers, all the hanging stuff, just trying to continue to work on that. But these sets are pretty much to failure. A lot of these I get to the bottom and you see me squeeze a little and then realize I'm trying to do another rep and it just sticks, right? So right there, that's failure. I just couldn't do the rep, just wouldn't move. So those were, you know, about 10 to 12 reps. Same thing with the plate raises. The first set, I think I only got 10 or 11. Then I dug in a little more and tried to reach failure on the next 2. All right, so why the plate front raises? I'm very much focused on the front delts, the delt tie-ins, particularly since I'm not incline benching at the moment. I'm just flat benching and reverse grip benching. Of course, I did do incline flies this week. So again, I want to make sure that we're really hitting those tie-ins where the front delts tie in there. Plus, I'm double downing on a little bit of front delt work. Now, a lot of people would say, but Jason, you have a ton of front delt work with all the pressing, you know, all this chest pressing. And that's true, but I don't want them to lag. I do feel like this is a very aesthetic improving exercise, particularly if you're also really doing all that side delt work. So again, making sure I'm doing those things. I really want to make sure that I'm working that area effectively. As I get leaner, I feel like it will enhance the way that I look. So I really want that where the whole upper chest and the front delts to be developed. One reason I always do some incline work on my chest day. But this really doubles down on it. Keeping in mind, it does hit the side delts also. Don't let anyone tell you it doesn't. Of course, it hits the upper traps. All 4 of these exercises hit upper traps. Another reason I'm not concerned at this point with trap work because I deadlift. I do all these rows. See where I'm going with this? Even my shoulder day, all 4 exercises are hitting the upper traps. My traps probably get a ridiculous amount of work. Again, not a muscle I'm worried about that much at this point. I feel like they're going to keep growing just with what I'm doing. Now, if they do start lagging, I can always add some extra trap work in. But I feel like my focus needs to be on delts, because what we don't want to have is disproportion there. So for the guys who are chasing an aesthetic look, and that's funny to hear me talking about that, making sure that your delts are really wide and less concerned for the upper trap is better. Now, if you've got really wide delts, you can build those traps more. All right, last shoulder exercise, I did just rear delt flies. Instead of trying to use the incline bench, I just bent over. Yes, I know, not the most flattering angle with the little bit of body fat I have there and that loose skin. Keep in mind, as I have to remind people, I have loose skin from losing 100 pounds. If anyone says you don't have proof of that, well, why else would I have the loose skin? That doesn't make sense. And you've seen pictures, guys. All right, so then I supersetted these with hanging leg raises. So I did all those sets pretty much to failure. And then what I've said yesterday, I'm going to really double down on more and more ab work. I feel like the hanging leg raises, because they help my grip, they help that shoulder mobility, and because I'm doing all my training beltless, I need my abs stronger and stronger and stronger. Plus, as I continue to tighten up that waistline, I think the ab work will continue to help. But you guys can see there, barring that loose skin and the fat in that area, I'm getting reasonably lean here. I mean, seeing the hamstring separation, right? I disproportionately store the fat in the love handle and loose skin area because I have loose skin there, and that's kind of how loose skin works. But over time, if I just keep getting leaner, that will burn off, and that's going to be the game plan. Just have to keep getting leaner. But yeah, in certain areas, I'm obviously looking pretty lean. I mean, again, seeing the hamstrings there, I'm not exactly a fat dude. You don't see grainy hamstrings like that if your body fat's too high. So just be aware, it's unfortunate, but having lost a lot of weight previously, that loose skin area I'm going to disproportionately store stuff there. All right. But overall, I'm happy with the way everything else is leaning out. I mean, I'm happy about it. Everything's coming along. And it's just going to take more time. I'm going to have to continue to bring up those weak areas, which I feel like for me is really things like, a little more side delt, a lot more arm, and just get that waistline tighter and tighter. That really is going to be the name of the game. The waistline has to continue to get tighter, and that's only going to happen by losing body fat, working on the skin quality there, make sure keep protein really high. I'm moisturizing the skin around all that. Putting vitamin E on it sometimes, just trying to over time get all of it to tighten up. But the body fat loss is the most important thing. So don't let anyone tell you that losing body fat doesn't help tighten loose skin. It absolutely does. Absolutely does, hands down. But yeah, so we end up doing 3 sets of hanging leg raises with all of this. Pretty happy with today's workout. Very straightforward. We hit everything we wanted to hit. Saw some slight progressive overload. So I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys and gals next time.